Hi guys, it's Archivist here with another video. Originally this video was going to be another ASMR one, but I couldn't really seem to justify the tone by whispering, so I decided instead to do it conventionally. Although if anyone does want an ASMR version of this video, just let me know in the comments below. Tonight I'm here to ask you a question. Who exactly are you? Are you an original creation? Are you a unique snowflake in a raging blizzard? What exactly makes us what we are? What is it that dictates our mannerisms, our interests and our very nature? In this video I want to delve into the culture of conformity and the effect those around us have. Firstly, let's begin by looking at my first question. Who exactly are you? The natural response of course would be to respond with the name that your parents gave you. However, this is essentially no more than a label. By telling you that my name is Adam, you don't really know any more about me other than my name. What defines us therefore is our personalities, our morality, our behaviour and our preferences. Everyone has these, but where exactly do they come from? Your personality, for example. What was it that led you to be defiant in the face of authority? Your personal beliefs. What is it that led you to become a vegetarian? Your preference. Why is it that you dislike dubstep but love punk rock? Some of these traits are in your DNA. They were always meant to be. This is evident by the extreme similarities in monozygotic twins. However, some of these traits would have been acquired, but how much of us is simply an amalgamation of inspiration, and how much is truly us? This brings me on to my second question. Are you an original creation? The answer to this on a technical level is of course yes. There is no one out there exactly the same as you. Even identical twins are likely to have at least one small difference as a result of the natural world. However, perhaps the building blocks that make us up aren't exactly as original as we might expect. For a moment consider one of your most deeply held beliefs. It may be a lifestyle choice or a certain stance on a controversial issue. Now think to yourself, what was it that caused you to uphold this belief? What was the original spark? It may have been in reaction to some experience, such as beholding the cruel slaughter of an animal turning you a vegetarian. Conversely, it may have been a particularly persuasive person that taught you to believe that eating meat is wrong. Many of my personal beliefs fall into the latter category, in that rather than being a reaction to a personal experience, they are instead inspired by another. Where am I going with this, you may ask yourself? Well, what I have so persistently pondered at night while I should have been sleeping is what makes me, myself and I. What am I and what are you and what are we? In a sense, original creation is impossible. Ideas can only really come from inspiration. We are able to rearrange a series of past ideas in order to create a new one, but true and original creation is nearly impossible to forge. Really, however, this ultimately depends on what your idea of originality is. If you think of it as simply breaking the mold, then perhaps it is possible. However, if it involves the manifestation of a concept of creation, the likes of which the universe has never seen, then really it is impossible. Therefore, are we just echoes of the past, a biological heirloom, and nothing more? To answer that question, you have to look at how susceptible humans are to conforming to the ideas of others. In other words, how likely are we to take in and internalise old ideas? It is indeed true that some people are more likely to conform than others, but as a whole, what are we really like? The need to conform can come from different reasons, one of which simply wanting to fit in. Some people just want to belong and will internalise the ideologies of others in order to gain company. It may be because you genuinely agree with what another person is saying and wish to accept their belief system. In many cases though, it may simply be to avoid negative consequence. Being different is not something that humans want to be seen to be, at least not on an undesirably huge extreme. Being the one person to speak differently to the rest is not conducive to our nature, and there have been studies to prove that we will avoid this situation. There have been scientific studies that investigate the power of conformity and crowd influence. To summarise the study, a group of participants were asked to say how much a dot of light had moved in a completely black room. As the participants had no point of reference, they had no idea that the dot was actually not moving at all. When asked individually how much the dot of light had moved, the group gave fairly varied answers. However, when asked as a group, their answers began to converge together, as no one wanted to appear to be wrong by a large amount to the entire group. Therefore, there is no doubt that those around us have a very real effect on our decision making. Moving on, the locus of control is something that we all have in one of two variants. The first is an internal locus of control, which suggests that a person is influenced by their own logic, believes that they are responsible for their own actions, and that there are no external supernatural forces affecting their actions. The second, as you might expect, is an external locus of control, which suggests that a person is influenced not necessarily by their own logic, but the convincing arguments of others. They may also be unwilling to accept responsibility for their own actions, as they believe that powerful supernatural external forces may have affected their judgments. This is not to say that everyone with an external locus of control is superstitious. They may just be more suggestible than those with internal control. You shouldn't believe that it is more desirable to have either one of these loci. While it may seem better to some on face value to possess an internal locus of control, this does of course require that you have a relatively well-reasoned judgment. Just because you personally believe that an action is justified doesn't make it so. Understanding what makes us who we are can be a very useful personal insight, as it allows for self-criticism and objective study. If you are able to see yourself from the humble perspective, it is much easier to see if you are being influenced by others. There are many people who are able to command their hearts and minds, but we must be careful in choosing who they are. If you possess the aforementioned internal locus of control, then you don't need me to tell you this, but don't believe everything you hear. Some people can sound very convincing even if what they are saying is complete rubbish. They count on those with an external locus of control to listen and believe everything they say. In a sense, they can transplant their personalities into yours, but of course only if you let them. Being conscious of who you are listening to is the key. To conclude this video, I wish to leave you with a final idea about individuality. No two falling snowflakes are quite alike, but they both seem pretty similar from a distance, don't they?